Hello, everyone. God bless you. This is Jazz Ballinger with Miracle Marriage Supper. I'm your Miracle Marriage Supper coach, and I am so grateful to be on here with you today. I tell you, I have someone made several comments on some of my posts, and I forgot their names, but I want to say thank you, Duggar. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Sorry about that, guys. I really appreciate you for commenting and letting us know what's being released is confirmation for you, and I think that's just really what it's all about. My whole goal is to just obey Father and to follow His instructions, even though I'm like, okay, God, I'm gonna walk this out with you along the way. So thank you so much, Miss Duggar, for joining us and subscribing to our channel. This is our community, and you are part of the community. And I am standing in agreement for your miracle marriage. So, yes, to all others, welcome, welcome, welcome to this broadcast. Today, we're going to go right into it. And I want to, excuse me, bring some clarity on what is a prodigal. Please define a prodigal. Here's a Q&A. So in the Bible, it talks about the prodigal who um, left his father's home. And if you don't know the story, it's basically a story of a son that wanted to get all of his inheritance, leave his father's home, and just really take it upon himself and explore. And home does not just signify refuge, safety, um, freedom, a level of freedom, and a level of order and structure, but home also signifies areas of your purpose and your destiny and aligning to the will of God for your life. And we know that Jesus is our father. He is also our elder brother, and also he is our friend. But also in the book of Revelations, he is looked upon as the marriage supper of the Lamb. He is the Lamb. And so in the Revelations, it talks about that he goes and prepares a place for us. He'll go and prepare a place for us. And when he returns, he will come back and get us. The Bible also says that he is a thief in the night. No man knows when the Son of Man, sorry guys, no man knows when the Son of Man will appear. And and so I'm sharing these particular scriptures because I want to highlight why your prodigal or a prodigal is not just someone that is wayward in sin, who is has a reprobated mind and is fleeing from their home structures and wanting to do their own thing and just living a promiscuous lifestyle or a life full of addiction and or witchery or wizards, whatever the scenario. But also prodigal can be someone that is literally a believer, believes in Jesus Christ, believes that he is the Son of God, believes that he died on the cross, but also is someone that is a leader and maybe a leader in church, a leader in business, can be a leader in the kingdom of God, but still in their heart, they have not submitted and surrendered areas of their heart where God is wanting them to get in alignment. How do we know? Because anytime we are not allowing the will of God, um, to take over our lives so that we can be in full alignment to his will, whether we understand or not, we are basically a prodigal. Hear me very clearly, and I can take it from my own perspective, my own life. For a time in my life, I ran from what I thought was the church, but really I was running from God because I was being challenged to surrender to a call that I did not have full understanding of, but I knew it. Let me help you understand what I mean. I knew God was calling me into deeper dynamics of his presence, a deeper level of discipline and structure, and also a deeper level of commitment to the sacredness of being a fivefold gift leader. Okay. But also, it required me to sacrifice. It required me to submit. I will say more, not sacrifice. I don't want to use that word just yet, but it required me to surrender my will. And as we know, our soul is an aspect of our will. In our soul is our mind, our appetite, our desires. In our soul is also our, how can I say, our personality. Um, Sometimes it's our mindsets. And so because of that, I did not want to surrender all of that to God, because it would require me to really put some boundaries with certain environments and people, and just a whole lot of things. I would have to debunk certain thought patterns and systems. So technically, when I was running, and I was running from the surrender, okay? The surrender to the will of God, whatever that looked like. So, yes, I am calling, or we're saying, this person is a prodigal because they are not surrendering to the full authority of Jesus Christ and to the full will of God for their destiny. See, the thing about the God ordained marriage and the miracle marriage and the pressure, I feel it's a 911 um, heavenly pressure that Jesus is really wanting his prophets and apostles to really convey, is because this level of your destiny, the level of destiny that the prodigal is not saying yes fully to, like the area where that God is trying to take us in our journey, personal journeys, with our families, and with our destiny, like the full imagery that God has for us. Let me break it down. Some of you have dreams that God put on your heart to fulfill, but this level of fulfillment of of the dream requires partnership, and requires prodigals that have a wounded heart, or they believe Jesus Christ, they believe in God, but they have such a wounded heart that they are not opening themselves up for love. They're not opening themselves up to accept the will of God of the person that God is calling them to. And what's happening, it is throwing off the course of their destiny. They're saying no to a person when God is highlighting and saying no, yes to this person, and they're not allowing Holy Father to reveal and to um, move things around, and just really surrender. Um, I'm going to take it a further. I know that I can really, and I have my days where I'm up and down, but I know I can really. I'm really submitted to the will of God in this particular area of miracle marriage supper, because when God called me to literally pray for the counterfeits and the counterfeit for my prodigals counterfeits, I knew then I have grown up someplace. Now, there was a time in my life where, I had like puppy love a boyfriend. I was 15, 16, 17, 18, around those years, and I had a boyfriend, and we really were into each other. And I knew people liked him, and he was into me, but it's different. It was different. But I remember this aspect of my character. I knew other teenager girls were into him, and he, whatever, but I didn't allow that to bother me. I kept myself confident. I was classy, I just ignored it. But when I began to um allow myself to become cold-hearted and uh, frustrated that these women or these girls were getting in the way, that's when I began. I was the best choice, but I began to, become like them. I begin to um, lose my focus and lose confidence. And it's the same thing. But I knew that this guy wasn't my husband. Okay, guys, let's keep that real. But I'm giving an example that you have to be confident in this stance. You have to just go to God and say, "Okay, God, I know that you have said that I will have a miracle marriage, but currently the person that you've highlighted to me and continue to highlight to me, names, imagery, all kinds of things, dreams, you name it, they are still with the counterfeits or they don't see me as the value. God says you are the best choice. God chose you before the foundations of the earth, and He's going to do whatever it takes for you and Him to come together. See, there is a time limit. There's a time limit for how long God is going to allow the prodigal to stay a closed in prodigal or pursue after the counterfeit. Even if they are a good person, that does not mean they're God's person. If even doesn't matter if that woman or that man is a good person, they're not God's best choice. So it's not going to work. It's not going to fit. It's not going to be the experience that God is wanting to see from heaven to earth. So, yes, your prodigal, the prodigal, a prodigal can be a believer, but who is not on a reprobated mind, but who has not submitted fully to the will of God. I knew I could stand in this. Oh, that's what I wanted to get into. I knew God called me to stand into this because I was able to pray for the counterfeits. I was able to pray for the counterfeit. I was able to pray for their salvation. I was able to pray. Yes, I still rebuke the hand of the enemy and I rebuke any witches and stuff. I'm not the one that will talk and confront and deal face to face with the counterfeit. I don't do that anymore. I did that in my younger days, but I don't do that anymore. You let that man or that woman deal with those counterfeits and exit that. God will deal with the rest of the counterfeits, deal with removing them. But because there's such a call and a press for these God ordained marriages, especially in this time, and I want you to listen to the prophetic word. Um, the systems of this world is falling. The reason why God called you to marriage for such a time as this. Once you listen to this prophetic word, you're going to really understand this teaching. So yes, the prodigal heart is closed in, but God is going to open their heart. But yeah, I just wanted to answer that question. Yes, you can be a believer of Jesus Christ. I know a few men and women that have, not only myself, that believers of Jesus Christ, all of that, but they are have a close, their heart is closed in. They're not in alignment all the way to the will of God for their life. God is still giving them instructions to do this and do that, and they're still saying no, and they're serving in the church. They're teaching Sunday school class. They're um, giving to the poor, they're giving to the homeless, but they're not doing the specific things that Holy Spirit has called them to do. And so they're not in alignment with Him. And so, yes, just wanted to answer that question. Hope that helps you today on today's topic. And thank you so much for joining miraclemarriagesupper.com. God bless.